Browns.
All right, Rich, you talked about earlier you felt like you were playing Jeopardy. Well, now it's time to really play a game. This is a little game I like to call Guess That Stat. I'm going to show you stats from the Steelers-Bengals games last season, and you have to guess which numbers you think belong to each team. Now, we're going to go ahead, throw up the first numbers here. These are numbers of total yardage. What total yardage corresponds to each team? 643, 638. Rich, we're starting with you. Which one do you think is the Steelers? Which one do you think is the Bengals? Keep in mind, these are combined from 2 games that they played last season.
I'm going to go with the Steelers because they trailed and they were throwing the ball all over the place. I was at both those games. So the Steelers have the 643.
I'd like to buy a vowel. I'll take 643. I think Rich's logic holds up, unlike his logic about not fearing the Browns a couple years ago.
AJ?
I'll be anti and just go 638, so we're not all.
You just want to be different.
I do.
And the answer is... All right, you guys are right. Pittsburgh, 343 total yards. That shows the splits from each of the games. But keep in mind, the Steelers lost both of those games, and one of them pretty poorly, might I add. All right, our next numbers here to throw up on the screen. Thank you to our wonderful producer, Steve Benko, for making these possible. Where do you think the rushing yards belong? 96 versus 294. Yikes.
Well, I'll go back to my logic. I covered both those games, 96 for the Steelers.
Yeah, I was going to say this is an easy one. I'll say 294 for the Bengals because the Steelers couldn't stop a nosebleed as far as their run defense last year, and Mixon really out-physicaled them in both games.
AJ, I have a feeling you're going to say something similar. Go for it.
Definitely hat trick, 294 for the Bengals. They ran all over the Steelers defense.
All right, Benko, let's go ahead and see that answer. You're absolutely right. Pittsburgh struggled tremendously in the run game. So scary. But my question is, what changes this time around between these teams? Is it Najee Harris having holes to run through? The defense shutting down Mixon? The secondary being able to guard a Jamar Chase? Coming up next, the panel will tell me what they believe helps the Steelers flip the narrative against the Bengals. Stick with us. All right, AJ, jumping right into it. What did the Steelers have to do to find success against the Bengals this time around? Go for it.
They absolutely have to stop the run. Joe Mixon's coming off a 1,200-plus rushing yards season. That was third in the NFL, 1,205 yards. If you shut down the run, at least you make the Bengals somewhat one-dimensional and trying to limit the explosives on the outside with their wideouts. So I think that's a point of focus. Obviously, with the defense this year, they have to do it.
I think they actually have to shut down Jamar Chase because they got a couple lightning strike touchdowns in that game, or one from Chase to Burrow to Chase at the end of the half that really broke the Steelers' backs at Acrisure Stadium. So they got to do that, Richie.
I'm going to go with all three. They got to do all three to win this game, right? They got to shut down Jamar Chase, shut down the run, and Najee Harris has to have an unbelievable game. Well, that is it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. Be sure to follow along with us all season long Inside the Huddle, and tweet me at Richie Walsh or KDK Sports with your thoughts. We would love to hear from you. For Chris, AJ, and Hannah, I'm Rich Walsh. Have a great night and week, and we will see you next week.